So.
Hey, Eric.
Hey, Mr. Sasko.
Are you scared, everybody? Mr. Sasko can't talk today because you're officially mine. I don't know how you feel about that. You might be sad, you might not.
I'm happy.
I'm happy.
Not that.
I don't have to hear it. He's not that bad, is he?
He's not annoying.
Yeah.
He's the most awesome teacher ever.
I love him.
He's the most awesome teacher ever.
Yes, yes. Anybody have their essay?
Yes, God.
If you want to pass those up, I'm going to collect them. Anybody absent on, what was it, Monday?
Everybody's not
Did you finish yours? And you have it? Anybody in this room? It's hard to tell. I guess it doesn't really matter how long it is. It's if you have the content in it, that's what it matters. Anybody else?
I haven't. Let me get it.
What?
I don't know how to
I just take my time. Eric, kids call me.
I haven't blended all together. Now my knees are.
That'll work. No worries. Yes.
I need the essays.
You need the essay?
Hey, you wrapped them. You doing better?
And I have your current events from, when was that, last week?
Yeah.
You're welcome. I'm going to throw these back here somewhere. Add them to my pile. Caleb, is this the class? Did I get the right one? Caleb? Where is he?
Caleb.
Got me?
Oh, Caleb. Caleb.
Oh, this is not.
That's not you?
Gotcha.
Mr. Sasko? Or who did that? It's sign language, I think.
Means he's watching you. Great. Very much attention.
Mental
Amy
notes.
Anderson?
Hallie Anderson.
Okay.
Hallie.
Aaron and Tony. Is this row too? Victoria in this row?
Oh, no.
Everybody's.
Leanna? Alright. I'm getting it. And Marina. She's in here as well. Is it safe to assume that these will all be in this row? And it's not here. Here's my absent name.
Mr. Sasko can say something.
And you're Emily, right?
You went over this one.
Yes.
Never
What was that? I'm sorry.
We squeaked the groundhog and
I'm gonna
squeaked the groundhog.
You're Karen, right?
Oh, the hedgehog. Wow.
Oh,
You never squeaked it.
When I squeaked the hedgehog.
Is there another Karen?
I don't think you did.
Oh,
I would be updated.
I didn't do my best.
Sarah
You don't
Williams.
have to. It'll be okay.
Trust me.
It's okay.
I'm going to put this back here too.
What's your name?
Eric Majors.
See one for you.
Get mine back.
That one was it.
Should there be another pal somewhere? No? Did you guys do it?
Yeah, we did it. Yeah, that's what I did last time. I wrote them down.
Let me double check.
Mine's about
I have Penny, Nicole, she's not here, right? There's Katie, and Eric. I'm sorry. I skipped past you somehow. Alright, today we are going to be talking about chapter 10. It's the start of our new chapter. How do you guys like my smart board?
It's pretty good for me.
Yeah, I know. I put it together, what?
Yeah.
Well,
There's a map there.
it's a map. That's the best we can do for now. Hopefully it'll be better eventually.
Pretty awesome.
Oh, we didn't really need it today, so. Does everybody have their notebook and book?
Yeah.
All right. We'll need your notebook if you don't have to. Want to piece of paper or... Yeah, go back.
It's so weird to have like smart things in here.
Well, yes. Yeah. Why not?
Enjoy.
There you go. And you can just copy it in your notebook. Yes.
Oh, yeah, this is great.
Back on. So this is the new start of chapter 10, where we're going to be working with voting and elections first. Does anybody know what this is? Yes.
Check.
Yep. More specifically, yes. What's that? Yeah, it's a paycheck. Have you ever seen one? Probably not, because you're not working. You have?
Yeah.
Well, a cool reality of this world, in order to survive and be a functioning member of society, you need to work. So you're probably all going to work at one point, if you do work legally, of course, because legally you have to work and you have to pay. Exactly. Does anybody know the difference between gross pay and net pay? Yes.
I think net is after taxes.
Yes, exactly. If you guys look up here, the gross pay is listed right here. Does everybody see this?
Yeah.
Okay. So the gross pay was $756, and the net pay after taxes is what he received in his check, $557.56. So let's pretend for a moment that this guy made $10 an hour. Is anybody good with math in here?
I have a calculator.
Calculators work. So if he makes $10 an hour and his gross pay was $756, about how much money did he make? Or how many hours did he work? I thought I worded that wrong.
Wait.
Okay, so his gross pay is $756 divided by 10. So we're going to say he makes $10 an hour.
75.6.
Yeah, let's just say about
One of you,
75
yeah.
hours. And he went home with $557. Let's just, do an average there. So divide 10 into 557.
55.7.
Okay, so the total of hours that he actually worked was 75. However, he only went home with 55 hours worth of his pay. So what's the difference between 75 and 25? Any guess?
50.
No, 75 minus 55.
They said 25. 20.
Yes, exactly, 20. So that means this guy, Fed Up Smith is his name, he worked 20 hours. 20 hours of his time went to the government, went to taxes. So if you think about it, once you guys start working, your parents are working, your money, your hours that you put in at your job, it's going towards the government. So how can you control what the government does since you have to work to have it function? Anybody know? Yes. By voting, exactly. That's just one of the many reasons. So why do we vote? That was one. Another?
In order to change the government for the better.
Yeah. Anybody else? It's a right. Did you guys study about all the amendments passed so women can vote and
It's a given right, so you can choose, because it's your taxpayer money, so you can choose who you think will do the best with it.
yeah, exactly. And what do you think happens when you don't vote? Who has the say in what happens?
Everybody else.
Exactly. And do we agree with everybody?
No.
And everybody in here took the test to see whether they were more conservative or liberal. So do you remember what the word flank means? Give me are you a Republican or a Democrat? Do you remember?
I was
Well, you don't have to use yourself as an example. Can you give me a plank from one of their platforms?
They want to keep the guns.
Yeah. For Republicans, they want to keep that right. So say I'm a Republican and I go in and I say, okay, if I don't vote, I know that there's a million Democrats that are voting, and they're probably voting to pass laws and make sure our tax money is going towards certain services that stop people from having guns. You know, just as an example. Anybody else have another example? Yes.
Government lies more.
Yeah, I mean, if you're supposedly a Republican and you're not voting, you might be letting your friend the Democrat say, hey, I think that we need to have the government more in our lives. I think that they should tax us more. I think they should know what people are doing. I think they should put microchips under their skin so you can track them. You know, you never know. It's probably like, what? That's what people are afraid are going to happen, though, you know? Alrighty, so you guys need to copy these 3 down. Just want to make sure you have them. So citizens that do not vote are handing over their share of political power to voters whose views they may oppose. We just went over that. And like I said with the paycheck example, you'll see that if you're going to be working in our society, yeah, you're going to be paying taxes, and those taxes are going to goods and services provided by the government, and you want to make sure that those goods and services are things that you agree with. And your only power is by voting. Voting for the people that you know are going to fight for the things that you agree with. Like we said earlier, it allows citizens to choose who run the government. That kind of goes hand in hand. And lastly, it is an important right of American citizenship. Everybody got this? Everybody good? If you need to see another note, we'll just go back to it again. Anybody remember this lady? Yeah, who is she?
She was the lady from the video, and I think she was talking about like Emmett Till and the Little Rock Nine.
Yep, she talked about a lot of things. Her name is Diane Nash. She was involved with that student, Student Coalition of, I think they were called SNCC. I can't remember exactly. But if you remember when we were watching the segment on Birmingham, there was a bomb and 4 kids died. Do you guys remember that? It was whenever the movie was like real quiet. It was all solemn and sad. All right, she had a quote. I forgot to put it on here, but I don't know if you remember it. Anybody? It was about voting. No? Okay. Well, she said the first one. Well, they had 2 choices that they could do. Yes.
I think it was like they're like there's something about legs since it goes about it. I have it
It was like about the first option, and the second was like that they have, I think it was one of the states that they could like.
They could vote. What she said was, she said, you know, they did this. They killed 4 kids, and they thought to themselves, you know, we have 2 options. 1, we could find out who did it and kill them, or 2, we could put our energy and time towards making sure everybody had the right to vote in Birmingham, Alabama, where this took place. So if you guys, can you turn to page 294 in your book? You can just leave them open because we're going to actually work on something after this. Yeah. Okay. Alright, we're just going to start without them. So we're on page 294. The first little segment on the left, what, it's the 15th Amendment, I think? What does it say? Anybody? Yes.
For at least denying a person's right to vote on the basis of race.
And what year was that?
1870.
So can you tell me why in 1963 this woman is saying, we want to make sure that all African American people in Alabama can vote? Why? I thought that they passed an amendment so everybody could vote. Let me give you a hint. This happened in 1963. If you look at 1964 and 1965, there were 2 things passed. And you talked about this in the beginning of the year, I think. Reasons why African Americans couldn't vote. Anybody remember? Yes.
The poll tax.
Yes. One is the pool tax, and the other one? Yes.
The literacy test.
Yeah, the literacy test. Do you guys remember Emmett Till's uncle from the video? He said there he could hardly understand him. I think you, Alex, we were talking about, you defined substandard education and how the blacks didn't have a great education like the white people. So that was one reason a lot of them couldn't pass literacy tests. Do you think Emmett Till's uncle would have passed? Honestly? Yeah, and as far as the poll tax, a lot of them didn't have money because they weren't getting the education, therefore they weren't getting as great of jobs. So now we're going to look at, let's see here, people that weren't permitted to vote in the past. Anybody know any? Yes.
Women.
Women, good. Yes. Anybody else? Think of groups of people. How about age? Anybody? All right. Men who didn't own property couldn't vote. All women, African Americans, Native Americans, and people under the age of 21. So who did that leave to vote? If all these people couldn't vote in the past, who was left to vote? Yes.
The men who had property
it more or less the only people left were the rich white guys that were over the age of 21. Do you think that's a pretty good representation of the population living in the United States at that time? No, not at all. Yes?
Did just like the black people have to take the literacy test?
I think everybody did,
Okay.
to be honest with you, but they weren't equipped to be able
Yeah,
to pass
I know,
them.
like, their
And-
education wasn't that.
Yeah. I don't know offhand, but I remember learning something when I was in school. I think one of my teachers told me that they were actually really, really hard. Like if you would look at it today, you probably would be like, I don't know how to do it, like being us. Don't quote me, but I think I remember something like that. Everybody good? So today, we're talking present day. What are some things people cannot be discriminated against based on, they can't vote based on these characteristics? Anybody know of any? It's pretty simple. How about gender? No? Well, they can't be discriminated against based on the race, color, gender, or age. And this has changed today. Now you can vote if you're at least 18. Yes.
Well, so is there any rules that follow if you're 18 to vote? Are there like-
Yes, we're going to get into that. There is a stipulation, if you're 18, you might not be able to vote under one certain thing, which I believe we're going to talk about next. You changed your mind? Yes.
Are they going to change the driving license so you can like
You know what?
did at 18? No.
That's what I've heard for years. Whenever I was 16, they said they were going to change it, and everybody was like, oh no. Because, you know, when you're 16, you want to drive. But I don't know, I think that insurance companies are looking into that because, let's face it, I'll be honest with you, when I was 16, I really didn't know what I was doing and I was on the road. That's not really safe. But then again, as an insurance company, what if they want to have unsafe drivers on the road? Because that means they get money. Is that how that works, Mr. Stasko?
Yes and
No comment?
You can't speak.
If you want an opinion,
Yeah, I want to hear it.
sure. No, actually, they would prefer not because they still get to collect the money from you. They don't
Yeah.
have to pay anything out.
But they charge big bucks for kids that are 16, 17, 18.
Yeah, but if they don't have to pay any out, they get to keep
Good
bigger
point.
bucks.
You're right. They're trying to make a profit.
Absolutely. Who isn't?
Okay, now we're still talking present day. What are some things, what are some characteristics of a person that you need to have to be able to vote? Yes,
Must be 18.
yes, 18.
You have to have your driver's license.
I don't think you have to have your driver's license. However, you have to be registered to vote, which I think you might be thinking about. Yes, Joanne.
You must be like a U.S. citizen.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Don't you have to be registered like in the polling place, like wherever you're gonna vote?
Yes, you're right. You guys got them all. Why isn't this clicking? There we go. So you have to be at least 18 years old. You have to be a U.S. citizen. So even people that come to our country legally and they're allowed to be here, they work here, they live here, if they're not a citizen, they're not able to vote. Register to vote, like we said, and we'll get more into that tomorrow. And a resident of a state for a specified period. And Leanne, I'm going to go with what you were saying, that you have to be registered to vote in a particular place. And how I'll explain this is if you were moving to a different state, you wouldn't be voting where you thought that you would be voting because you're living in a new area. But you're still registered to vote at that place. For example, I vote at this church by my house, and there might be a polling place down the road, but if I'm not registered to vote at that place, I can't vote there. And the reason they do this is they want to make sure that they're keeping track of everybody and every vote, because they don't want people cheating. They don't want one person voting in one state going to another state voting there. Yes?
So, like, people who are in jail, do they, like, take them to a specific area to vote?
This is what this last little point is. A person that has been convicted of a serious crime is not permitted to vote until his or her prison sentence is served. So if you're in jail, I guess you're not voting. That's one of the many rights that you lose when you're in jail. I wouldn't want to go there, you know. I think that's the least of your problems. Yes?
My dad, he like worked out of town. So, like he was working in New York like every week. So that was like the time that we had the election for the president. And I think he registered in New York, and I don't think he was registered in Pennsylvania anymore, so he could vote there. Like,
Yeah.
you know what? Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you said he was in New York when he voted. Is that correct? Or-
Yeah.
Okay. So he
He
registered
registered.
in that state.
Yeah.
However, there's something called an absentee ballot, which we'll
Yeah, I
get
think
to.
that's what he used.
Yeah. So if you are planning on being out of town, you still can vote using that absentee ballot, which we'll be getting into in the chapter further on in the week, I think. So
Okay.
we'll explain on that a little bit more. Yes.
On like the last point, like it says like if you're convicted of a serious crime like a murder or something like that, I understand that. Like if you were just put in jail because like you didn't pay somebody to child support or something like that, would you?
I don't think that would be classified as like a serious crime.
So then could you vote like while you're in jail?
I'm assuming yes, but I'm not sure. With that, I mean, if you're petty theft or something,
Be in prison,
you have to be in prison. Okay.
incarcerated.
All right,
Yep.
so there you go. You have to be in prison to not be able to vote. But if you're in trouble with the law, I mean, there's a lot of people in trouble with the law that are walking around, they're still voting. It just depends on the severity of the crime that you committed. And of course, if it's a pretty bad crime, you're going to be in jail. Everybody good on these? Okay, so in the 1800s, would Barack Obama be able to vote? No. How about the Native American? How about the guy at the top? Anybody can read his sign?
No.
Yeah, because he doesn't own property, obviously, if he's homeless. And I put this on here for you, because I know, and you look like her. Can you get that a lot? Would Lady Gaga be able to vote?
No way.
No, she's a female. Would she pass the literacy test? I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just teasing. Okay, today, does anybody know who this guy is? I mean, you never know. No.
Osama bin Laden.
Osama bin Laden. Yes, so. Yeah, well, I mean, you were close. Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden. Would he be able to vote today in the United States?
No.
Why not? Yes.
He's not
Yeah, he's not a U.S. citizen. Right. How about this guy up here, the cartoon?
No.
No, why?
He's in jail.
He's in jail.
Prison.
Yeah, he's obviously in jail. He can't vote. How about Diane Nash, the lady from the video? Would she be able to vote today?
Yes.
Yes. And why? Because
She has right to vote.
yeah, she's
She's a US
now
citizen.
able to. She's a U.S. citizen. She is female. They're allowed to vote. She's African American. You can't discriminate against them because of their race. Hmm?
It's not the last one who I think it is.
I don't know, who is it?
Justin Bieber.
Yeah, is he able to vote today?
Oh, he should be able.
No,
He's
wait.
crazy.
Really?
Okay.
Okay.
How old is he though?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. How old is he?
I think he's like 16.
Yeah, so would he be able to vote?
No.
No.
No way.
And if he's from Canada, he can't vote once he turns 18. I don't know either. I don't know much about him.
Partially. So you can build.
Does anybody have any questions about what we went over? Do you want me to put that one slide back on? And I don't know if everybody else. No worries. Sorry, I should have told you that. Okay. I'm gonna leave this up, just in case somebody didn't get it. That's it. You know what you guys are gonna do right now?
What?
I'm going to pass out the study guide on steps in voting. So, let's see here. Where do we stick those? Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
What's today? What's today? I'm confused. What do you mean?
What's today?
The date? Oh, it's the it's the 8th. So this is due tomorrow, this study guide. So you guys
I am so confused. I've been teaching right for us 2/8 study guide due tomorrow.
wait, tomorrow's the 9th, right?
Yeah.
Today's the 8th. So it says due 9 because that's the day that it's due. See?
Still been confused.
Just write on, whenever I give it to you, write on it due tomorrow.
That way you won't forget.
If I don't get done first.
While I'm doing this, can somebody tell me why we vote? Anybody, yes.
Because like everybody wants to say in their government.
That's good. Everybody wants to stay in their government.
It is an important right of American citizenship.
Yeah, and if you don't vote, who has to stay in the government? People that you might not agree with, right?
Everybody goes to
I might have an extra one in that room, I don't know.
Wait. You have an extra.
All right, I'll take it. Thanks. Did everybody get these notes? It's okay if I turn them off? Yeah, I'll take it as yes.
Yeah.
Please start this.
Yeah, go ahead. If you have any questions, I'll be walking around.